Here's Paul. Dallas has a foul to give. Booker on a three. He got it! Devin Booker gives Phoenix a 1-point lead with
5 from long range. Durant's got 11. Craig goes down. Durant has got a highlight.
Remaining. Tatum drives down and throws it down. Wow!
Bryant for the win. Bang! Kobe Bryant has hit a shot at the buzzer.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Sports Bits podcast. Today, we have a very short episode because we don't have anything to talk about, really. All-Star Weekend, this weekend. We're recording this on Friday. But, yeah, not a whole lot of news. We discussed trade deadline last week. And, yeah, we're kind of in a bit of a mid-season lull right now. Not a whole lot to talk about. There's no games on tonight except for the Rising Stars game. So, yeah, we're a little tight on content right now. But we're going to talk about end-of-season awards and where teams and people stack up right now at about halfway point. So I guess we'll just jump right into it.
Can I make a comment before?
Jesse wants to make a comment.
Yeah, I want to make a comment. I am really sad the Celtics couldn't get a 10-win streak. We lost to the Detroit Pistons of all teams.
Not only did they lose to the Detroit Pistons, but also down 1 point, Jaylen Brown gets double blocked by Isaiah Stewart and Cade Cunningham.
Yep, and then Jason Tatum misses a 20-foot jumper.
Just sucks for you because my team's at 3 10-game winning streaks.
Yeah, it must be nice having Devin Booker and Monty Williams, DeAndre Ayton, and Chris Paul. Anyway, here, that's all I wanted to say. Just for my Celtics sake, if you want to make any comments about the Nets, you're welcome to.
No, all I can say is cry about it, and we'll see you in the playoffs, maybe, if you're lucky.
I mean, I'm 5th right now, so I'm pretty much almost have home.
Yeah, and funny enough, Nets are actually 8th, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, so we don't have to talk about that right now because I didn't remember making this about me.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Coach of the Year, and also 2 fake awards that I decided to create. Least Most Valuable Player, which is basically going to be the best player on a crappy team.
Yeah. Or on a bad team.
Yeah, and then we also have Worst Team of the Year, which is more, I guess I should have called it Worst Organization because we kind of went for a holistic standpoint. We're talking about coaching, front office, everything. So I guess we'll change that to Worst Organization of the Year. But I guess we'll just take it probably one award at a time, and then we'll just debate between us. So right now we'll start off with MVP. Probably the most contentious one right now, I think. So I have Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I can hold it in the front so we can all talk. And then I actually have Steph Curry, and
I have Jokic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think all are pretty up there for contenders for the MVP. Mm-hmm. So let's preface with that. Mm-hmm. Actually, you can start because I think you have the front runner for the MVP award currently.
Yeah, so I picked Embiid. Numbers wise, I mean he's up there for sure, right? He's pretty much up there with everyone who's doing it this season. Mm-hmm. Giannis, they have very similar numbers. But the reason why I gave Embiid the edge over Jokic and Giannis and other people who are also in the race is because the Sixers are winning, and they're winning like a lot, and they're pretty scary. I mean, they're 3rd in the East right now, but once James Harden gets there and actually starts playing, he's going to be pretty deadly with Embiid, and I think Embiid's only going to get better because of it. So yeah, I had Embiid as my MVP. That's why.
Yeah, and I mean mainly I had Curry just because. I'll be honest, I was thinking about putting Giannis, but then I looked at his numbers and I looked. I know these Giannis haters. I'm pretty neutral about Giannis, but personally, I think he has not stepped up the way he should be every year to make him essentially like the number 1 player in the league, so he obviously doesn't get MVP. I have Steph Curry just because we saw him in the beginning of the year be absolutely dominant and amazing and actually lead the Warriors to the 1 seed at a time until the Suns took it because they are overall, I think, a more well-balanced team. But I think with the return of Clay and I guess Steph, still keeping the same production as he did without Clay, and they still have Jordan Poole and everybody, I think that shows that he's still a MVP candidate because he's still able to perform at that same level that he was in the beginning of the year with all these pieces coming back. And also it means that their team's going to win more and proves that the winning plus the stats show that he can be an MVP candidate.
For me at least, what in terms of Jokic, obviously the Nuggets aren't doing like super hot right now. Reed, could you actually fact check me on what their standing is?
They are fifth off the top of my head.
They're sixth now.
Sixth.
There you go.
Okay, so they're sixth right now. They're not doing like fantastic. They're still in the playoff race though. They're still an apparent team, and still has a lot of potential. On top of that, Jokic is a absolutely monster of a player, and I would personally say I would make the argument that Jokic is one of the most desired players to play with in the league right now. But
That's
obviously
one of the best passers.
Yeah.
Not only passing big men, just passer period.
Exactly. So, and I think that gives him an edge up over these other two candidates with Joel Embiid and Steph Curry. I think that he just has the tenacity to be able to bring this team up. I mean, the fact that he has basically been carrying this team on his back and they're still the sixth seed shows a lot.
Especially without Jamal Murray.
It shows a lot. So I think that he could easily go back-to-back for MVPs this season.
Yeah, I think that's kind of shows like the two schools of thought that you can go through when it comes to MVP, because I picked Embiid over Jokic because Jokic is the more well-balanced player. I think there's no debate about that. But I picked Embiid over him. I gave him the edge because his team is doing better, and I think his team's doing better because of him. And you're absolutely right, though. Jokic is totally carrying this Nuggets team right now, but I had to give it to the 3 seed over the 6 seed.
For sure.
Yeah, I can agree with that, and also that's why I picked Curry, because he's still maintaining that 2 seed in the West. Can I actually deviate for like a little take I saw on Twitter? Sure. It's about actually Joker, because we're talking about MVP, and if he wins this, it also put him in the contention of potentially surpassing Dirk as one of the best offensive big men in the league. And do we want to do you guys have a quick take on that? Because we were talking about MVP, we are talking about Joker, and overall people were comparing their their 3-point shooting, their overall passing,
I think,
and their spacing.
Jokic is going to need a Finals MVP, I think, to really put him in that conversation above Dirk.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's a tough situation because both guys were and are dominant at their position, and they made a large impact on the court that affected everybody around them, including the opposing team. So I think that they're very similar to compare, which is why I'm glad that they actually made an accurate comparison with that, because both guys are kind of similar in the way that they play. Just Joker's a better passer, and Dirk was a little bit better of a scorer. In terms of Jokic over Dirk, I wouldn't say yet, but if he gets another MVP and he's at least close to getting a championship, it would definitely be up in conversation.
Anyway, that was a little side thing.
Yeah.
I don't have to say much for Curry, and I think that again MVP is still up for debates. We still have 22 more games, so the season's over. So honestly, I got Curry. Let's move on to Defensive Player of the Year, which is what we have next. I have another Golden State Warrior player. Draymond Green is my Defensive Player of the Year, and also he's the front runner currently for Defensive Player of the Year according to Vegas odds. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I couldn't give it to Draymond. I think Draymond embodies what I think a defensive player should be in terms of how they've given it to Rudy Gobert the past couple years, and Rudy Gobert really only blocks shots. He's a great rim protector for sure, but that's pretty much all he does in my opinion. Whereas when they gave it to Giannis, I liked when they gave it to Giannis because Giannis can guard any position pretty much. He'll lock down just about anybody. So I like when they gave it to him, but I went with Giannis again this year. I don't know why I didn't just start up with that. But so I went with Giannis because of everything I just said. And I feel like you can't really give it to some guy who's really good at one thing on the defensive end, especially when that one thing gets exposed in the playoffs every single year. Sure. Yep. In the regular season, Rudy Gobert is the best shot blocker, but when it comes down to the playoffs, we've seen the past 3 or 4 years now him just get absolutely exposed.
Yeah, he cracks the bed.
Yeah, for sure. So that's why I had to give it to Giannis this year. For
me, I went with Mikhail Bridges, a little bit of a dark horse in this race, but
a hot take, if you will.
Yeah, hot take, if you will. I had a bit of trouble deciding between Mikhail Bridges or Draymond. I think both are very deserving of this award, including Giannis too. I think almost everybody here that we're listing, it is very deserving of the award, but at the same time, it's who just does it better. Right now, I think that Mikhail Bridges has taken a large step up for the defense on the Suns. If anything, he's been the main contributor to that, and why we're doing well on defense. But I do see the points for Draymond, and I do think that Draymond could totally get it, and I would be fine with him getting it. I think that he's been doing really well. Mr. fucking, quadruple single guy. So, I mean, homie does well, and he literally covers every stat, but I just think that Mikhail Bridges is a little bit leg up over it.
Currently on the season right now, he is averaging 7 points, 7 rebounds,
This is Draymond,
and 7
by the way.
assists.
Yeah.
777.
Yeah.
Yeah, triple C. He's lucky 7s right now.
Lucky
So
sevens.
my only problem with giving it to Draymond right now is the fact that how many games have we played? 55?
Something like that.
Something like that. Draymond has played 34 of those games.
Yes.
So I have a problem giving him the award just based on him not being there for a large chunk of the season so far. And I don't know what his timetable is, but I don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and that's fair. But again, hopefully he comes back. And I think just overall, the reason why I want to give it to him and why he's probably the front runner is because he was leading essentially, again, he came back to essentially the 2016 Draymond where he had to lead this defense and bring some of these new guys in like Jordan Poole and I can't think of his name, like James Wise and a bunch of these other guys who don't really know the Warrior system like, Sean Livingston did or Zaza Pachulia back in the day did. And Andrew Bogut did, and my favorite center from back then, Andrew Bogut. So I think him like essentially teaching these young guys and like coordinating this defense while Steve Kerr and Stephen Curry is working on the offense. I think that's probably why he's getting a lot of love from the Defensive Player of the Year, like people who are making odds.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I see it.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I wish that they picked Defensive Player of the Year as more of a holistic award, as
Agreed.
opposed to just being like, oh, you got the most blocks. So
Well,
you're
yeah,
Defensive
like
Player of the Year,
or
you got the
how
most steals.
how much in each category.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I think that they should definitely take a more holistic approach.
It should
to
be
it.
more of an on-court type of
just
deals.
everything like presence. Because even
Exactly.
if Draymond doesn't fill the stat sheet with steals and blocks, this man is like directing traffic all game.
Like that's a great point to bring up too. Like I mean, just based off of like presence on the court with like intimidation. How are you with certain players when
All
they
these
see
guys,
you on the court?
All these guys got Hall of Fame.
There's
Hall of Fame
even
intimidating.
that famous there's that famous clip from like a couple years ago when Kawhi was still on the Spurs and he came in for a substitution and LeBron just went,
LeBron
"Fuck."
literally
Yeah.
was like, he was like,
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, but remember he's 6'6" and he's able to bully like centers who are 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
So
it's like it should definitely be a little bit more of a holistic position. 100%.
I definitely.
and I can definitely see why Mikhail Bridges is in the dark horse race because that 7 foot wingspan is scary.
Yeah.
It's just as scary.
Like those passing lanes are shut down every time he's in there.
Again, the games I have watched earlier in the season with Mikhail Bridges is like, how do you pass around with this man, like potentially locking down one of your best players?
Right.
And
on the
not
team.
only pass, I saw a clip. I was like, while I was doing some research for this segment, I was looking at some clips that were on the Suns' Twitter, and this man, like, there was just one specific clip that I think sums up his defense perfectly. They were running regular pick and roll, and he reached around the screen, poked the ball out of the ball handler's hands, and then went in for a dunk on the other end. It's like things like that you don't see a lot of players do anymore, especially a defensive-minded smaller guy. You see a lot of these centers that are really defensive-minded, but when you get like more of a forward, a smaller forward like him, I think he's like 6'7", something. So yeah, he's like an average size forward.
Yeah.
When you see a guy like this just have like an incredible wingspan and great hands on defense, it's really pretty incredible to watch.
I think the last thing that I want to say about this is that, in terms of like how people look at blocks, it is an art form. So is steals. Steals is 100% an art form.
Absolutely.
I watched a video the other day that was talking about Marcus Smart and like how he goes to steal balls from from his opposing player, and he says he doesn't do it when they bounce the ball. He does it when they're literally about to drop, because then they can't go for the ball again. They'll just stumble. So like it's like thinking about that every single play about like a steal, like that takes some next level skill, man.
Seriously, they think like, I swear to God, their mind's going like a million miles an hour just thinking about that kind of stuff. It's crazy.
Defense requires debatably a lot more skill of like preparation and I guess training of like the eye and like I guess mental
100%.
like muscle memory to be able to perform this stuff.
Because a defense, you got to be reactive.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be. You can be kind of proactive on defense, but a good offensive player will force you to be reactive to what they do. So when you can actually keep up with that, it's incredible.
And I will talk from personal experience. I used to be a terrible offensive player in high school, but I used to be able to lock down any guard that came in front of me. Even our number one point guard in high school, locked him down. I have a few tips I keep in the back of my head for that purpose to keep my defense really well.
We'll throw up Makoto's highlights.
No, I don't got any highlights like that. But yeah, because my offense was so crappy, that's why I didn't make the team. Like I was able to lock him down. Even the coach was surprised, but I didn't have any offense to back it up. I was basically Marcus Smart with no game, essentially. Marcus Smart with no game. So let's side tangent. Let's move on to MIP. This is actually I think all of us have very interesting picks for MIP.
We all took this in
a very different way, because like MIP can be very subjective on how you want to like judge it. So
so I went with Miles Bridges.
Miles Bridges. I have Darius Garland. So
I picked John Morant, which I know a lot of people are going to say that he should be in the MVP conversation, which I agree. He should be.
Yes.
But I think the way that I looked at this award is I look at the margin of improvement, because you're talking about the most improved player, but not only is it by the player, in my opinion, I think you also have to look at the organization or the team in general, right? And how the team has improved and the impact that improvement from the player has had on the improvement of the squad. And I think John Morant embodies that, because Memphis right now is holding down the 4th seed in the West, and a lot of that comes from his 6-7 assists a night and 26 points a game. That's where
The one thing that I will say with that is that I think honestly all three of the players and teams are actually, embodying what you just said, because Charlotte's doing good, Cleveland's doing good, Memphis is doing good.
So
I mean,
the reason why I had to give it to Ja over these other two guys, because you're right, the Hornets are doing great, and the Cavaliers are arguably the most improved team and organization in the entire in the entire league right now for this season. But I feel like a lot of Cleveland's success comes from Evan Mobley as well, Jared Allen, right? I feel like they have more pieces around him, and not to say that Ja doesn't have anybody around him. He has some solid pieces.
Triple Day, Desmond Bain, Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks is still injured, I think, but when he had him, he was pretty solid. That little shit got injured. I had him on my fantasy team. Jesus. But yeah, so that's why I've kind of been talking about this for a while, but that's why I feel like I just had to give it to Ja, because I feel like Ja is like the shining star on the Grizzlies, whereas the improvement of the Hornets and the Cavaliers is more holistic, whereas Ja has like led the charge for the improvement in
I think
Memphis.
that's fair. You want to go?
Yeah, I think for me, I looked at Darius Garland basically picking up the slack for Colin Sexton, who got injured and now for the season.
100%.
And of course, you can talk about Evan Mobley was there and Jared Allen were there running double bigs, and James Borrego, JB Bickerstaff somehow becoming like a god tier coach.
Yeah, crazy.
In the span of a year.
Before you continue, not only were they running double bigs with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, but they also had Larry Markkinen on the lineup, and he's also a 7-footer. So they had 3 7-footers in the lineup, which I thought was interesting, because you wouldn't really think for that to work, but it does apparently.
Best defense in the league right now.
I think they're second, but let me.
The Celtics are the second best defense. I don't know what the first is.
Oh, my bad.
I just know that. That's why I can say I won.
What do you even look at?
don't know how they are.
Just look up Cavs, and then you just look up But anyway, with Darius Garland, also I think his volume has gone up, and he still kept a decent volume or decent, I guess, efficiency with the increased volume that he's gotten. So that's also why I say MIP. Even though his numbers are similar, but his usage and his volume has increased since last year because of Colin Sexton's injury. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, that's why I wanted to go. If you want to talk about Mikhail Bridges or Miles Bridges.
Yeah. So for me, with Miles Bridges, I think that the best way for me, at least, to look at this is, as not to shit on Reed's pick, but I was talking to him about this before the podcast started. I think that Ja Morant's too much of a presence as a star in the league for them to give the MIP award to him. Although I see, why he would get it, and he probably should, but I think that like takes away a little bit from his race. So I think that Miles Bridges would be a great person to throw in there in his place as MIP, because I think that he is dominating with the Charlotte and LaMelo Ball, absolutely tearing it up. He's been improving his numbers left, right, and center. I mean, I think that he should, in my opinion, he embodies what an MIP is.
Because he's been improving every season.
But it's not necessarily like, as much as like I think that he deserves it, he might not be as deserving as Ja Morant, but I don't know if the NBA is actually going to give it to Ja Morant, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, because he's Ja Morant is in, like, arguably in the MVP conversation. Yeah, So typically when you see most improved player, you see somebody that is just on the cusp of all-star, like going from really good to all-star. Mm-hmm. And I think Miles Bridges is definitely on that cusp right now. And Darius Garland broke that threshold this season. He's a first-time all-star this season. Mm-hmm. He's not a starter, I don't think.
No, he's a bench piece with KD's team, I think, if I remember right.
But no, I mean, Darius Garland's doing absolutely great things.
Yeah. And let's speaking of, let's see, what's the next one? Oh, we got Rookie of the Year.
I think all of us were in a consensus about this, actually.
Were you?
About Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
I thought you had somebody else to
I wanted to say, because I'm kind of a homer for this guy, but you guys had Mobley.
Yeah.
I had Scotty Barnes just because I am a homer for Scotty Barnes, and like I can see why everyone.
Wait, what do you mean homer? Did he go
Florida?
Oh, okay.
No, homer, not for that. No, not for that. No, he went to Florida State. Not for homer, but I've been talking.
You should hate him then, right?
I'm a homer in the sense I've been supporting him this whole season and his amazing production this year. With of course, when Siakam was out and now Siakam's back, just the amazing performance he's been doing with I guess with the Raptors, who's debatably a 500 team this year.
Never mind. Sorry.
So but you guys have Mobley. If you guys want to do a quick comment about Mobley, I think we all are pretty self-understanding of why Mobley
is a rookie right now and averaging a 15-point double-double and leading the Cavs in blocks with Jared Allen on that team. Mm-hmm. You don't just do that and not get Rookie of the Year.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just something that I don't even know if we've ever seen something like this. I feel like Evan Mobley, we've gotten a lot of good rookies this year, right?
Yes.
But I feel like Evan Mobley is the most complete product currently to come out of the draft.
I'm going to say this right now. Evan Mobley will be one of the top 5 centers in the next 5 years.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100%.
The one thing we have to be careful for is injury, because he is very.
Yeah,
he's not as
7 foot.
He needs to gain some weight and some durability before he can talk about longevity. But
I mean, he's maintained it this season so far. So I mean, and he's getting beat up too. It's like they play him at center.
Yeah,
seriously.
He's been playing in the East with the dominant bigs of Bam Adebayo, Joel Embiid.
He's getting beat up out there. So definitely, I think. I mean, he's pretty resilient so far. So I hope he keeps it up.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Sixth man of the year. This is another, I guess, category that's very subjective.
It's a weird one.
And it's a weird one.
This is a strange one.
And you do want to describe it real quick?
So this is my understanding of the criteria from what I gathered on the
Williams.
like literally give it to Lou Will again. So as far as I'm understanding, sixth man of the year, to be eligible for sixth man of the year, you need to come off the bench for more games throughout the season than you start. Yep. So it doesn't matter how many minutes you play. You could theoretically start 51 games there's 82 games. You could theoretically start 40 games and come off the bench for 42 games and still technically be eligible.
Yeah.
So this one is a little bit difficult.
And it's funny because you can also average 30 plus minutes as a sixth man on the bench.
Man, which most six men of the year
At
do
least,
that.
At least upwards of 20.
Upwards.
Yeah,
Of
like
20,
you
yeah.
don't get some guy who like comes off the bench, plays
Like
15 minutes,
minutes.
and then drops like 30 points a
Yeah,
game.
that
just
doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's very
Unfortunately.
rare, at least.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I mean, if it does, please, I would love to watch that because that would be insane.
Remember that real quick? You remember that like math teacher that was in the G League for like ages and came to the Lakers and dropped like 18 in like 4 minutes?
What?
Huh?
Yeah, I forget.
What?
I forget
He
what
was
his
a
name, what
math
his name was.
teacher?
Yeah, he was like a teacher for most of the for most of his career.
Anyway, while you let's give our 6 men of the year picks while you're looking that up because
Yeah.
we both conveniently have Tyler Hero.
Yeah, Tyler Hero for sure.
Self-explanatory because this man averages 30 minutes on the bench
And I mean, he's got about 22. I have.
20 some odd points.
He's like got 22, 24 points. A
He's
game.
essentially
Ingram.
Andre Ingram.
Ingram, yeah.
And
Really?
So he was a teacher.
This
He was,
guy.
he was a math teacher.
Yeah, this guy.
I didn't know that.
Dude, what the hell?
Yeah, he
What?
was like a teacher for most of his life or something, and then like he got called up for like one game, dropped like 18 because he shot like 4 threes or whatever.
Oh my
Dude,
god.
that's crazy.
Yo, math teachers be hitting them threes though. They got that
Parabola.
They got
the parabola.
the parabola calculated to be able to make every shot.
Yeah, so right now, Tyler Hero, I'm gonna cut you off because you're not interesting.
Okay, all right. Time for me to leave. All right, podcast over. Podcast. Anyway,
No, I'm just playing. But you make it too easy sometimes. But anyways,
I didn't say
it was
anything.
funny. Yeah, well, that's like it's like. I don't know.
All right. Anyway,
No, we
before
were talking about this. No, hold on. We're going no basketball talk for a hot side. We were talking about this like a few months ago. Remember how like we'll make fun of you sometimes, and like we'll like poke fun at you, and you like don't give it back.
Yeah.
And that's what like annoys us the most.
We get frustrated that you don't want to throw shit back at us.
like we're like just like
I-
like give it to us. back.
I just
Like,
I don't care. I don't care.
to us,
yeah, honestly, what do you mean? What's,
I guess that's not my
what's a
personality.
friend nowadays if they don't call you a jackass? But,
Before we make any comments, he is averaging 32 points. So we were right about the 30
no,
plus
he's
minute.
averaging 20 points, 32 minutes.
32 minutes. That's what I meant.
Oh, yeah,
32
okay,
minutes.
yeah,
This season.
What are we talking about?
Tyler Hero.
So this is both of our picks. Yeah, so he's only started 10 games, right? But he's averaging 32 minutes off the bench. So that's basically like he's might as well be a starter, right?
Yep.
But he just conveniently doesn't play the first minute of the game. So he's got 20 points right now, and he's shooting 42% from the field, which isn't great, but he's shooting 37 from three, which is pretty solid. And he gives Miami, the reason why I want to give it to him is because he gives Miami a really nice like scoring punch, right? He doesn't do a whole lot else. He's not a great passer. He's a decent passer. He's not a great passer. And he's like a decent rebounder. He just like kind of happens to be in the
And
right
not
place at the
known
right
for his
time a lot.
defense at all. If that's
Definitely
something I
not known
preach.
for his defense at all. But I mean, he pretty much embodies what I think a six man is, which is someone who doesn't do a whole lot that well except score. Kind of like Lou Will. Lou Will pretty much only scored. He was a decent playmaker.
Jamal Crawford, Jordan Clarkson, people have
Montrezl
won.
Harrell as well. When Montrezl Harrell was a better defender though. But point
Yes.
is that these six men, you don't want to start them because they have some flaws to their game.
Yep.
That if you started them, I guess they would
get
come out
exposed.
more.
Yep.
I guess,
Oh,
even though they're still playing 32 minutes a game.
Yes.
But whatever.
Speaking of flaws, you want to talk about your sixth man of the year?
All right. I mean, my
You see his?
I mean, mine's Kevin Love.
Oh,
Oh, I think. I was trying to get at his flaws. Being
Yeah,
old.
well,
but
yeah, he's old as shit. But
That's what I'm saying. His flaw was.
I
old.
think Tyler Hero's kind of a tool. I'm not gonna lie, but
Well, he's a legit tool. He can score. That's his tool in the toolbox. How to deal.
but
Anyway,
this is the most unorganized podcast
I know.
I've ever done.
well, I'll be honest. This is our notes are very, very solid, but then we just go on rants for like.
welcome for that. I made a template.
Yes.
But I think Kevin Love's got it. I mean, yeah, he's old as crap, like literally stone. But like, dude, he looks like he's playing like he was on the Minnesota Timberwolves when he was young,
Yeah,
bro. Like
that's-
he's dominating right now.
Yeah,
like,
no, he's playing pretty.
yeah.
It helps that he doesn't have to have so much load because he has.
Yeah,
other
and he's got people to
pass
help
off.
out on his team too. Like, I mean, he's just like overall, he's just doing really well for himself and for the Cavs. I mean, yeah, he's a perfect six man, in my opinion.
what Kevin Love is doing because so he's only started 2 games at the season,
Yeah.
right? And this dude, throughout a solid stretch of his career, was a he was never a consistent all-star. He got like 2 selections, then a selection, then 2 more. But like, you kind of feel like sometimes when a guy like Kevin Love comes on your team and then they don't start him, he's going to be a little bit like, what do you mean I'm not starting? Type deal. And I think that kind of what it was like at the beginning of the season, if I remember correctly. But right now, I mean, he's definitely molded into his role as 6-man. And, I mean, clearly it's working out for him.
I think he likes it
Yes.
a little
Yeah,
bit, too. Like,
seriously.
he's like...
Probably because I mean, he's playing.
How old is he?
Actually,
How old is he?
I don't know how. He's 33 right now, which
Okay.
is old as. It's pretty damn old.
It's pretty damn old.
past
He's
his
probably
prime.
like, I don't want to play this much minutes.
definitely not.
He's
averaging 22 minutes a game.
Yeah.
So he's averaging
Yes.
10 less minutes a game than both of our picks.
Yep.
In Tyler Hero, and also I would imagine the rest of the people who are also in the list.
Yep.
So something to be said about Kevin Love this season for sure.
Yeah.
And also, he's shooting 39% from 3 on 6 attempts a game, which I didn't even realize, but that is insane. That is really, really solid.
And for the next one, let's just like quickly go over them. We don't need to go in super in depth because I really want to go into our gag awards.
I also like the gag awards.
Yes.
A lot.
So, Coach of the Year, I had Billy Donovan.
Monty goddamn Williams.
I also had Monty Williams. I hate it when I stroke James's ego, but this I had to pick Monty Williams for this one just because the Suns are on a tear right now, and I think that they are definitely a very high probability to be in the finals. So I think Monty Williams' coaching is a big part of that.
I mean, like, if you just look at the last 2 seasons, I mean, once he got into the position, they exponentially started to get better. And that yes, that does have to do with getting Chris Paul, obviously.
Yeah,
but
yes.
like, you know, like having a good coaching staff, like that changes a lot in the game.
Absolutely,
You know?
especially a coach that'll put a lot of like faith in
support
the players. You know, because like he is like you always hear. At least throughout the finals last year, they would always highlight Monty Williams specifically. You didn't hear shit from Mike Budenholzer, right?
No.
You know, you didn't hear.
I think we're on agreement that Budenholzer. It reminds me of like a Jason Kidd, essentially gone down the deep end.
And
A little
so
bit. I mean, he's a little bit washed. Still a good coach, but
Yeah.
the point I was trying to make is that Monty Williams is like always, you know. He always has like he's like very philosophical. How like inspirational he is.
And I think that it
really
helps
works.
a lot too with the fact that Monty Williams has been Chris Paul's coach essentially for most of his career.
Yeah, they like grew up essentially
They
together.
got-
He coached him when they were on the New Orleans Hornets.
They had like a they put out like a story like not that long ago that was like, oh, like Chris Paul was going through like, or Monty was going through
His, I think it
something,
was. I don't want to like air any dirty laundry. I don't know dirty laundry, but I'm pretty sure the story was that Monty Williams' wife passed away, and Chris Paul was like, you
All
know,
over
there
that.
for him,
Yeah.
for sure.
I think he
the
paid for
whole
the
time.
funeral.
I don't know about all that, but I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Chris Paul may be a dick sometimes, but he's a pretty good guy.
Dude.
But
Yes.
so they definitely have a connection there, and I think it definitely shows up in the box score and in the record, the win-loss column.
Agreed.
And my only, I guess I'll go over my thing quickly because I'm in the minority. But Billy Donovan, I'm looking at the Bulls compared from last year to this year,
Yeah, I mean,
and it does.
straight up.
I think the 3 coaches that we wanted to highlight. I was actually arguing between JB Bickerstaff with the Cleveland Cavaliers and Billy Donovan. But I think the thing I see is that his overall game plan from last year to this year. Obviously, the Bulls are one of the best teams in the East, but also. Seeing his player improvement, like seeing Zach LaVine improve really like from last year to this year, and also incorporating guys like DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic who are debatably have a lot of flaws in their game and able to put them in a system that they can shine in.
Yeah,
I think it's
DeMar
the one
DeRozan
thing.
is looking like a perfect
He's
player.
a dark horse MVP this year, and that's partly due to Billy Donovan's game plan that he implemented. So that's like where my argument goes into. When it comes to Coach of the Year, but that's it. Let's go into the gag awards because I think they're
so the gag
fun.
awards are fun. This is something I was like writing up these notes, and I was like, I think it would be fun to just do like some. I was looking at I think it was most improved player, and I wanted to give it to DeJounte Murray, but I was like, I can't because the Spurs suck. Like really bad. And I was like, I can't realistically give this guy most improved player because of how bad his team is. So then I was like, well, that should be like a thing in and of itself, like being really good, but on a really crappy team. Yeah. So then the least most valuable player award was born in my brain. And I gave it to DeJounte Murray.
Yeah.
Specifically for those reasons.
And you know who would have won like 10 of these awards back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook. Anyway, mine is Domantas Sabonis, and
Mine is Dame.
Dame.
I think Lillard is definitely in that conversation. For me, at least, before you go into yours.
yeah.
Portland blows ass. And they blew up their team.
And they're trying to build around Dame.
Again.
Yeah.
Hold on. Build around Dame. What is this? The process? They've already done this once. It's gonna fail again.
Also, they don't have.
Anyway, don't worry about it.
They don't have time to build around Dame. Dame is 32,
Two?
32, 30.
He's 32.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they don't. We were talking about this during the trade deadline. We said that Dame probably has 3 more years of what he's doing now to keep it up. And past that point, his stats are going to start going down. His body's going to take a toll.
Yeah.
Athleticism's going to go down. Everything is kind of just going to start to drain for him, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think mine. I really wanted to pick Sabonis, but I forgot he like what I was saying, like, oh, he traded teams, but like he still went to a crappy team. So either way, this award, like the criteria of this award, crappier team, and that's like why I was able to still put him in this award, because like he was really dominant on the Pacers, and now he's helping the Kings win games now. So it says something that he's able to do something for a debatably the worst franchise in the whole league.
Will the Kings make the playoffs?
No.
Probably not.
It's a funny thing to argue with Sabonis now.
I think if they kept healed and had Sabonis, then yeah.
Probably.
It would have been possible for sure. That would have been a good dynamic.
I mean, that
But
would be
no.
hard for them to do because of like all the salary cap.
Yeah, that's
bullshit.
just
Yeah.
worked out. But no, I mean, now you look at the Kings and wow, bad.
Yeah.
We talked about it. We all gave our opinions. Oh, do you want to give your opinions on that Pacers trade, the Pacers Kings? So we gave our opinions in the last week, but did you have like a quick like minute on that?
Yeah, sure.
Or a quick couple
Take
sentences.
that real quick. Yeah, I mean, like that trade was interesting.
Interesting is a word.
Yeah, like I'm very indifferent with it. I'm not upset, like honestly, because like if I'm looking in the perspective of both fan bases, I really wouldn't be that upset. Even if I'm on the Pacers, I mean, you got some valuable assets back, and you were able to keep Karis LeVert.
I think the Pacers walked out of it better.
Karis LeVert got traded to the Cavs.
Not Karis LeVert. Who did they keep? Brogdon.
They did
Brogdon.
keep Brogdon somehow.
Yeah, they kept Brogdon. And even though he can be an injury-prone jackass, he is a pretty
Really
dominant
good.
player.
Yes.
So I mean, I think that him and Hield are going to work well together. You know, I think they have something that they can cook with that. They're going to need more, obviously, but they have something. In terms of the Kings, I think that they're doing okay, but like, you know, yeah, I'm not jumping up and down over what they have, but Sabonis is going to do fine, and Rashawn Holmes is a solid center as well. So I mean, I think they should work well together, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And you want to transition to the next segment?
Yeah. So
with,
yeah, we're
talking about it.
Yeah, we're gonna go into the worst team of the year.
Worst organization.
Or yeah, well, we'll say
decided to
organization.
because we
Yes.
decided that it's going to be like everything, coaching, front office, team wise.
Right.
And since you're already talking about this team, you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So for them two, they have the Kings.
No, you have the Kings.
I don't have the Kings.
Never mind.
He's the one person.
Yeah.
Out of
No,
the
I had
three
the
of
Knicks.
us.
No, I had the Knicks.
you had the
Never
Knicks.
mind. Sorry, I was still trying to transition.
the Kings.
I was actually trying to transition. but
So
we're talking
I
about the
actually
Kings.
I had a
We're talking
whole
about the Kings.
I had a whole transition ready in the middle of this conversation,
Oh,
and then it just got blown out. But who cares? So yeah, I had spoiler alert. I had the Kings for my worst organization of the year, and a lot of that comes specifically from this trade that they just did. They just traded Tyrese Halliburton, arguably one of the best young talents in the league, and then got not a whole lot back for it. They got Sabonis, who's great, sure.
win now player.
But are they going to be able to win now with the paint clogged so bad because De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis? I don't know how that's really going to work out for them. I mean, they've been I don't know what their record is since the trade. I think they've won a few games, but I don't see that working out for them. And then also front office wise, you don't have to be a detective to figure out that the Kings probably have the worst front office in the entire league.
That I can back.
Yeah, and it's been consistent like that for like ever.
Yeah.
They consistently draft poorly. And when they did draft well, i.e. Halliburton, they drafted Halliburton, if I'm not mistaken, and then they trade him away, who you totally could have built a team around him. So I just feel like the Kings.
He was pissed, too.
Oh yeah, no, of course he was. I mean, he wanted to be in Sacramento, and like,
surprising.
which yeah, I mean seriously, like you got to that's like some. Like
next-level dedication.
Mother Teresa type dedication.
It's like Dame with Dame with the Trailblazers. It's the same situation.
Yeah, except like.
His ass got traded.
Yeah, facts. Like, and it's like, damn, you know. So I don't know. I just can't see the Kings really coming out of this season in a better spot than when they came in, and they've consistently been getting worse every single year. I feel like. So yeah, I got the Kings as my worst franchise organization of the year, and I think they're only going downhill.
Yeah.
The Rockets suck too.
Some people. Sorry,
Some people.
Mike got muted. But yeah, some people might. I went with the Rockets. Some people might get be surprised by that, but I actually think that the Rockets, as a team, like on court team, they are just one of the most unorganized, unprofessional, like no way of actually having a game plan really of a team.
Watching like a high school team.
Yeah.
In terms of like game plan.
And they're acting like it's a high school team too, because like I mean you cannot have KPJ and Jalen Green shooting up 30 shots a game and no one else gets touches and they can't even score efficiently. I mean, it's just poor. On top of that, coaching, I mean, clearly if there's no game plan on court, there's not going to be one behind the scenes. And, you know, their front office is definitely up there with one of the worst this season. But I definitely think that Reed made a very good point in saying that the Kings franchise or organization outside of the team, even still with the team, has been probably one of the worst that we've seen in many, many years.
I have more faith in Steven Silas as coach of the Rockets than I have of whoever the hell's coaching the Kings now. I don't even know who's coaching the Kings.
Oh yeah, Luke Walton got fired.
Yeah, Luke Walton got fired this season.
Yep, this season.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yep.
So if Luke Walton was still their coach, I swear to God, that would have been like instant
kill shot.
Yeah, like seriously, if they had Luke Walton.
I think personally, a good coach that they should try and go for
is this the Kings or
the Kings?
Yeah.
Van Gundy.
Yeah.
Go for Stan, man.
Dude, Van Gundy. Okay, so Jeff Van Gundy, more of the commentator now. Yeah, he is probably one of the most annoying personalities ever. Not a terrible coach though, but his brother Stan Van Gundy is one of the best coaches to ever do it.
Yeah,
like absolutely, for sure. And I think if the Pistons had made him GM, which they should have back when they had him as a coach, the Pistons would be a top dog right now, and they're not. And now Stan is getting a pretty paycheck from probably ESPN. I don't know who he's commentating with right now.
Yeah, I'll say my worst team is the New York Knicks, and I'm going to point to this because I'm going to put a video of Stephen A. Smith's rant of the Knicks, and that's my whole argument because it was kind of funny and I absolutely loved it. The Knicks are terrible. They have been terrible. Nothing's ever going to change, apparently. So that's essentially it.
Yeah. I think the best cap off for that was, so as a Brooklyn fan, the game on Wednesday was something of beauty. It was fantastic. Okay, Knicks went into the half with a 28-point lead. I was in class and like watching like bits and pieces of this. I literally had class, and I kept going back and forth through the game, and then I get a tweet from Brooklyn. I have their notifications on, and they tweeted Cam Thomas in all caps, and I was like, we're down 28 points. Like why are we acting like something's going on? And then the game is tied within a half, and then we end up beating the Knicks by 6. And watching that team fall apart is hilarious. Watching Tom Thibodeau desperately grasp at straws for what he has right now. Okay, he's starting Alec Burks, which I don't understand, really.
Well, who else are going to start?
I don't know. Shit, like if you got... Cam Reddish may not be the best player, but you traded for him. You might as well give him a shot.
I don't know. I think that they're doing well with Kemba.
Point.
This whole Knicks segment is just a roast of the Knicks, essentially.
Yeah.
This shows how bad they are. There's no positive.
There's literally nothing good about the Knicks. And funny thing about that is that Julius Randle got Most Improved Player last year.
Yeah.
And Tom Thibodeau, for the Knicks, got Coach of the Year.
I want to say 2 words, and this basically sums up the Knicks crapping the pants for the last couple seasons. Kevin Knox. Literally one of the worst picks that they've ever had in recent history, and I would say overall he was one of the biggest busts ever.
Yep. Next to Anthony Bennett.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't think anybody beats Anthony Bennett.
No. So that's it. I'm surprised how long this episode went. To be honest, I really thought this would be like a 10-minute episode just to give our picks out, but we really had a lot of stuff to talk about.
This was
we make content out of a very small segment. I'm very surprised.
Thinner. We were worried about not having enough content, and now
you have a lot of personal. You have a lot of personal stuff about us now in this episode. True. So this is probably our last biggest episode. We're probably gonna keep it short until then the 22-game stint starts up again. Yeah. And then of course playoffs.
Of course. This one was like a lot more freeform. So I'm sure once we have...
This is going to be a blast to edit when I have to figure out what needs to be put in and what not to be put in.
Yeah, good luck with that.
At least when it comes to the 10-minute segments. So,
when playoffs come, we'll definitely have some stuff for that. It's
exactly.
Exciting.
Yeah, we'll have a blast. But yeah, that is it. We will see y'all next week, probably with another episode, a shorter episode, and then we'll get back on the normal schedule once the games start up. So yeah.
Absolutely. Follow us on... You almost forgot.
Oh, thank you.
You almost forgot.
You want to do it? Because you did really great last week.
Apparently I did. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, that's where we're at. Go follow us there. YouTube, we put out smaller videos on YouTube. Go check us out there. Also, I made a website for us, and I would really appreciate it if everybody went to go check it out. sportsbitspod.wordpress.com. Go check it out. We got pictures of our adorable faces, a little story about where Sports Bits Podcast came from. And it's also got links to our socials, so go check it out. You can find everything that you want about the Sports Bits Podcast at sportsbitspod.wordpress.com.
Oh, and leave us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts because that really does help.
Absolutely.
Go Suns.
There you go. Okay. And we're done.
We'll see y'all next week. Peace.